Hi guys, Jessica O'Neill here. This is my assistant Zelda. I just wanted to give you an overview of who I am and what I do, and I wanted to give everybody the experience of sort of seeing me and hearing from my own voice what it is that I do. So I'm a canine behavior consultant. Some people call me a dog whisperer or a specialist or an expert. The term behaviorist is usually reserved for people who are veterinary behaviorists. So we typically go with coach, consultant, expert, that kind of thing. So I wanted to give you a little bit of an understanding of how this product of mine came to be. So I've been working in the industry for about 10 years. We do behavior consulting with a company called Pet Intel. We also have a behavior rehab house, another organically born business called the Canine Habitat, and we work with rescues a lot of the time that are having a difficult time in the environment that they're living, whether it's foster or shelter. So we do a lot of different things. We've engaged in service dog training. I've also been an expert witness in provincial court, contributed to numerous magazines and publications and online forums. So that's a little bit about what I do in my day. The JWalker, I'm going to get it up for you so I can show you. Can you tell that? I have 4 dogs and 4 kids, so it's a busy house. Everybody's away right now. So this is the JWalker harness, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how it works. But basically, the harness came to be because everybody was coming to me with this main problem of my dog doesn't walk well on leash. I don't want to go for walks anymore. And of course, being someone who works with dogs who are having difficulty in some sort of emotional capacity. So we divide it from training and behavior. We sort of say that there's a division there. Training being more of the operant. I tell you to do something, you do something, and something good happens. So that's that ABCs of training. In the behavior side of things, we look at things a little bit differently because we want to talk about the dog's emotional state and how they feel about something, why they feel about it that way, and how can we change it at the core. So they work in tandem, essentially, but and they all come from the same basic core behavior principles, which are the same across all mammals. So I started my life working in social services with people and brain injury and the elderly and children with disabilities and behavior issues. So I had a little background in that to begin with, and this was a nice segue. So the harness itself basically came to be as a prototype for me to help my husband, who had never owned a dog before, and I came with 4 of them, and my children who wanted to be involved in walking the dogs and working with the dogs. So it was Zelda, you're so cute. So what we did was we developed a prototype that we thought maybe we could give to clients or sell to clients so that they could use it and it would be easier for them to communicate with their dog, and certainly it would improve my life. So I started searching initially for a product on the market, and I had used everything I could find, and nothing was doing what I wanted it to do. And I developed this prototype, and lo and behold, it worked super well, and I was thrilled. I was again thrilled when I realized that nobody else had ever thought of this before. And so I quickly began a patent process, which we are now almost, we're over halfway through. So what we did was, I'm going to show you the harness here, and hopefully you're going to be getting your delivery soon. So what we did is we developed a product that has a clip on either side. So these are like martingale features, and they clip on either side. And it does not matter what side you want to clip it on, okay? So this is the top of the harness, and this is the bottom of the harness, and this is the chest of the harness. So you choose which side you want to clip the dog on. And this really cool thing happens. When your dog pulls forward, it actually will turn the dog back towards you, which is step 1 of leash walking. Get your dog's attention. So we call it the leash dance, right? So step 1 is you back up. First, your dog needs to be moving towards you. Step 2 is that we get facing the same direction. Step 3 is that we move forward. And sometimes in step 2, you even want to turn towards your dog, which I'm going to show you in the next video. So that's how the harness came to be. It's working super well for people. We're getting incredible feedback. On top of that, we wanted to use really nice webbing, so we went with a tubular webbing, which is super soft. We went with military grade buckles that are contoured and they don't have any sharp edges. We have a yellow indicator tab that shows that it needs to be facing the back of the dogs. And even our ribbon on top is made so that they can read it when the dog's on their body. So it makes it super easy for them to fit it and put it on properly. It sits up really nice and high on the chest, which is another thing that I found. Everything that was no pull on the market restricted movement. Not cool. You need to be able to move. The idea here is not to stop your dog from moving, it's to show them which way you want them to move and how to move. So what I did was I worked with a chiropractor who worked with dogs and a veterinarian, and we determined that dogs don't have a collarbone, but if we could get a product to sit where the collarbone would be on a dog, we would avoid the pulling on the trachea, and we would avoid issues with tendons that come across the shoulders, which you're hearing more and more about, the injuries that dogs are ensuing because of that constant sort of tearing of the shoulder and the tendon there. So the harness has done great things. I'm going to show you in the video. I just want to tell you a little bit about the utility belt, because there are lots of hands-free leashes on the market, but our hands-free leash is a little bit different, and we get a lot of incredible feedback about it because, thank you, Zoo. You excited? So here's the belt, and it's just a simple belt, but one of the things that you're going to see is that it's really adjustable, and it's easy to put on. So it clips on and clips off. It's soft. I wear this all day long, so it's super soft, and it's that tubular webbing again, and everything that touches the dog's skin or your skin is actually double folded. So that's another thing, and we use this awesome box stitch on all of our products, which I think I want you to be able to see here, but anyway, you'll see it when you have the sample in your hand. So we have the belt. So the belt is the one part of it. Next thing we have is this little loopy bit, and that goes on to your belt. So it just loops onto your belt like this. So now we have a loop hanging off the belt. And the neat thing about this is it's free to move around. So it slides around. It slides around really easily. So if you want to decide I want to be on the other side, so that's going to move around really easily. And that's attached, of course, to your leash. So here's your leash. And as you can see, again, a leash that's adjustable in length. So one of the cool things here about hands-free walking is that you are really strong in your core. So when I talked to sports medicine doctors and I was talking to everybody going, there's a big risk here of somebody being pulled over. But really, you're at more risk to be pulled over if you let your arms go forward like that and you throw yourself off balance, or if you're trying to wrench this arm back and you're going to hurt yourself, and it happens all the time. So what we did was we said you're stronger in your core. This teaches people to use their bodies and direct their dogs with their bodies. And it has this awesome feature that if you ever get into trouble, you can unclip, and you have to compress both sides because it's got little ridges on either side so that it doesn't release unless you push both sides. But you can unclip your belt and you can release the dog, or you can hold it by the loop at the top here so that you can actually convert really quickly to leash walking with your hands if you feel more comfortable. This little, sorry Zelda, this little part here at the end came to me after a really bad episode at the park where I was trying to defrost my leash because we're in Canada and it gets really cold and it was full of snow and ice. And I tried to like blow on it and heat it up, and my lips got stuck to the darn thing, and I went home with a big scab on my lip, a little bloody spot, and my husband said, "What did you do?" I said, "Well, it's never going to happen again because I'm going to make a product that makes sure that that doesn't happen to other people." So you can leave this part on your dog when they're at the park so that when you want to collect them, you can just grab and re-clip in, and you don't even have to take off your mitts. So that's a really nice feature as well. So secondary to that, sometimes we want to have a drag leash so the dogs who are not reliable off leash have we have an opportunity to capture them. That's my coon hound. You can capture them really easily. Sometimes you want to give them more space to explore, but you don't want to give them the freedom where it's not a fenced area. So you can unclip your leash and your belt, and you can use these by clipping them together, extending them out the full length, and now you've got this like long line for training. So it does that as well. And the last thing that I'm going to show you about this, because there are, like I said, a lot of things in this domain, nothing that does all of these things together. So again, here you are, this is around your waist, and you get to the car, you unclip, and this fancy little piece is staying in your car. So that's plugged in, and you just clip in here. And now you've got a tether in the car. Your dog is not going to jump out the window. It's not going to jump out the door when you open it to get your groceries out, and he's not going to be hopping back and forth between seats. So the utility belt does all of that stuff together. So when you put the utility belt on a client and then you put the harness on the dog, you've got grounding the human so they understand, use my body, I need to show the dog what to do. You've got a way to indicate to the dog to move with your body. And the whole system works so flawlessly together. And from there, we've been able to add in other things like a belt clip, which is another cool thing. You can attach a rope toy for those dogs who chew the leash, and all sorts of other features that have made this product even more adaptable to the individual. So, and we continue to do more. So it's really cool. So that's how the product was born. That's a little bit about me.